The first thing I did every time I visited, from when I was a kid onward, was to sit down at her kitchen table and eat. And then we would say hello. Our relationship was built on an amazing amount of love, but also food. I always joke when I'm cooking in my house that I'm channeling my grandmother. When people show up here, there's chicken soup on the stove. It's her recipe. I change one thing. I use chicken stock instead of water and cook it down. Chicken, carrot, celery, onion. Dill is the only herb she used, except every once in a while she would put in a piece of garlic, so I do the same. My grandmother's apartment was a very nice one-bedroom. Her bedroom was in the back. My Uncle Benny slept on a fold-out sofa bed in the living room. He never married and lived with my grandmother until she passed away. He was a short man, maybe 5'8", bald, with a great big beautiful hooked nose. I was very close to him. I don't remember this, but I'm told he used to help me with my ingrown toenails, which still bother me. He'd sit for hours and hours pushing the skin back. He was that kind of guy. A beautiful man, very kind and gentle. What I do remember about Benny is that he always seemed to be drifting off to sleep. He'd nod at the table, he'd nod watching TV. Many years later, I found out why. Benny worked in the vehicle transport business. Giant cargo ships unloaded thousands of cars at the docks in Newark, New Jersey. Transporters picked them up and delivered them to various locations. They might load a dozen cars onto a big truck, or a driver might pick up a single car and drive it somewhere. Benny was one of those. Each driver carried his own license plate, which he put on the car when he picked it up and removed on delivery. One day I was sitting in my office with the very successful jazz producer Joel Doran, who said in passing, "How's license plate Benny?" I said, "Who's license plate Benny?" "Don't you have an Uncle Benny who delivers cars? Well, he's a very famous poker player around town. They call him License Plate Benny. Plays every night." For the first time, I understood why Benny nodded off all the time. When I was in third grade, we moved out to a new suburb, Oceanside, farther out on Long Island, very near the seaside town of Long Beach. Oceanside was famous for having the second Nathan's hot dog stand, after the first one in Coney Island. It's still there on Long Beach Road, which runs through Oceanside straight out to the boardwalk. When I was in high school, a group of us went to Nathan's for lunch almost every day. I was caddying at a golf course, 2 bags at a time for $18 a round, and spent all the money on Nathan's hot dogs, fried clams, and clam chowder. My mouth is watering as I'm writing this. Oceanside grew up about the same time that Levittown did, that 1950s moment when suburbs flourished and it looked very similar, like Ozzie and Harriet's neighborhood. On our street, Henrietta Avenue, maybe 20 houses faced each other on a block, all exactly the same split-level design. They were really nice houses, with big yards in front and back, maybe a half or 3/4 of an acre. Through our front door, you walked into the living room, which my mother furnished very much of that era, with plastic slip covers on everything, because the furniture was never to be sat on. It was just for show. That led into the dining room, also rarely used, only for formal occasions. We did almost all our eating in the kitchen, which was not unlike my grandmother's, with a round table and benches and some chairs. Downstairs was a den where the TV was. The utility room was right off the den, and then there was the garage. One flight up from the kitchen with 2 bedrooms. I had one, my brother had the other. Our own bedrooms, that was huge. Up another flight was the master bedroom for my parents. For all of us who had moved out from the city, Oceanside was an entirely new world. For the first time in our lives, we had landscape, we had pets, we had trees and grass and air. It was another very nice, very friendly community. Everybody knew everybody else on the block. I took to it right away. I always had little jobs in the neighborhood, like delivering newspapers on my bicycle and helping the man with the neighborhood dairy route deliver eggs and butter. I'd never go a block without waving to somebody. Very beaver cleaver. But the move to Oceanside came with one major drawback, and its name was